What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. We'll continue with our 2024 schedule preview and projected record series. Wake Forest is up next. This was their schedule from last year. Very disappointing season, going just 4-8. This has really had become one of the more consistent programs, at least in the ACC. You know, they were a 7-5, 8-4 type team pretty much every year. And so them going 4-8 was a bit of a surprise, but a lot of it is really the schedule. I mean, you look at this schedule and you look at the games that they lost, and how many of these games would you say were easy games? I mean, Georgia Tech at home, Syracuse on the road. Those are maybe the two games you could point to that maybe could have gotten this team to a bowl game, but they still beat Vanderbilt. They still beat Pitt. So it was a pretty tough schedule for a team like Wake Forest. You look at the 2024 schedule, and it's going to be maybe a little, really, I guess probably about the same. I would say it's going to be much easier or tougher. We'll start with the non-conference. They do have North Carolina A&T. Then they'll play Ole Miss. That's going to be a really tough one. Louisiana and at UConn. So a similar non-conference schedule. And then you look at the home schedule. It's Ole Miss, or in the ACC. We'll start there. Virginia, Clemson, Cal, and Duke. And so those are, three of those games I think are very winnable. Virginia, Cal, and Duke, games that Wake Forest can win. Clemson I think will be tough. Then you look at the road schedule in the ACC. They've got NC State, Stanford, North Carolina, and Miami. All those games I think are going to be very tough. Stanford probably the one game you'd point to and say that maybe Wake Forest could win that one on the road, but still that's going to be a tough one. So they'll start on a Thursday night against North Carolina A&T on August 29th, and they play Virginia on September 7th. Ole Miss at home on the 14th. Then they get a bye week, their first bye week before playing Louisiana on the 28th. Then they'll go on the road to play NC State on October 5th. That'll be their first road game. Then they're back home on the 12th for Clemson. Then they go on the road to play UConn, and a quick turnaround going all the way out to Stanford the next week. That's going to be pretty tough, going to UConn and going to Stanford back-to-back there. And then they'll have another bye week before they play Cal on a Friday night. And then they'll play North Carolina on the road on the 16th. Back-to-back road games here with North Carolina and then Miami on the 23rd. And close things out with Duke on November 30th. So that's really what jumps out to me. Back-to-back road games against UConn and Stanford, and then back-to-back road games against North Carolina and Miami. Of course, traveling to North Carolina, not all that far, but the Miami game is pretty far away. Obviously, the Stanford game is pretty far away, and so that's going to be the toughest part of the schedule. But like I said, there are winnable games at home. North Carolina A&T, obviously a winnable game. Virginia, Louisiana, Cal, Duke. You've got at least maybe 5 games that you could possibly win at home. And so if they can still win on the road, this team could potentially, and you got UConn on the road. That's a game where they're probably going to be favored. So this team could possibly get back to a bowl game. Let's see what the projection says. These are the projections from last year. Was 6-6 was a projection. I picked them to go 6-6. Athlon actually had them at 7-5. They were even higher. The over/under was at 6 or 6.5, depending on where you went. And so let's see again what this projection is going to look like this year. This is the scale that we use. Same thing we've done in all the videos. And we've explained it in previous videos. If you missed those, go back and check them out. But let's start with an easy win. That's North Carolina A&T. They should roll in that one. Would be shocked if they were to lose that game. And then I think Louisiana we can put in the blue. Since Billy Napier left, this is not quite the same type of team that we had seen from Louisiana, but still not going to be an easy win. I think they'll probably be favored by 13 or 14 points in this game. And it would be a pretty big upset if they were to lose, but still not a guaranteed win, not a gimme game at all. And then I think UConn, because it's on the road, this is a team that's been getting better. We'll put that one in the purple. I think they'll be favored by 7 or 8 points in this game. But again, not an easy win at all, and they could absolutely lose that game. And then we go to the games where, first of all, Ole Miss, I'm going to give them pretty much no chance. In this one, I think they're probably going to be 20-point underdogs. And so that one, we're just going to say that they're not going to beat Ole Miss. It would be a huge upset if they were able to win that one. And then NC State, Clemson, North Carolina, Miami. I think these games in the yellow, I think they'll be about a touchdown underdog in all of these. Possibly more, depending on how good these teams are. But again, we use our tier system, and these teams are all a tier above Wake Forest. And then you also have to play them on the road, NC State, North Carolina, and Miami. And so that's going to be a pretty tough. Those 4 games are going to be pretty tough. And then Ole Miss is going to be really tough. So you've got 5 games where they're going to be at least a touchdown underdog, in my opinion. And then you've got these other games, Virginia, Stanford, Cal, and Duke. These are the games they've got to win. They've got to win maybe at least 3 out of these 4 if they're going to have a chance to maybe get to a bowl game. It's going to be tough, but these are winnable games, and really this is what the season is going to come down to, in my opinion. I think if they can win 3 of these 4, then there's a really, really good shot there and make it to a bowl game. If they can win them all, then obviously they're in great shape, and they could even then maybe afford to lose a game like the UConn game. But if you average everything out to get the projection for Wake Forest, we get 6-6. So that is the projected record. Again, the odds would say that one of these games in the yellow, they're going to win. They're going to probably split the 50-50 games, and then that's going to get you to 6-6. So that's the projection. Would love to get your thoughts on this team. Let me know what you think the projection should be for Wake Forest down in the comments below.